Welcome food fans, picky eaters, the flavor curious, and everyone in between. Nothing makes good food better than good conversation. And your table is ready. Welcome back to another episode of the Food for ThoughtCast with your hosts, Melissa Reagan and Steven Gonzalez. But you can call them Chef. All right, let's get this episode started.
Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food for ThoughtCast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan, and my co-host with the most, Chef Steven Gonzalez. What's up, Steve?
Hello. How's it going?
Oh, it's definitely going. It just couldn't be going any more than it's going. How about you, buddy?
That sounds promising.
Oh, sure. And full of promise, full of promise and opportunity. Steve, what's your drink of choice?
Tonight, we are having a fancy 1877 mineral water, sparkling mineral water with lime, spiked with a deep eddy pineapple vodka. I'm not buzzing yet, but
But on the way. That sounds promising, just like you said.
Nah, it's pretty good.
So Steve inspired me. I went and got a Waterloo peach sparkling water. May or may not be some tequila in here. So
I'm going to go with the may not part because I know you.
You know me?
Waterloo, tequila, and peach.
Are you sure?
I don't know. And now I'm starting to life decisions.
So I'm out of tequila. It's gin. Ding, 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 ding.
See, I knew that was my instinct, and I didn't do it. So that's what I get.
Fun times. Steve, how was your trip? Did you relax?
San Antonio was fun.
Nice.
We did a lot of relaxing.
I love it.
Didn't get to eat out as much as I was thinking we were going to because we hung out. We went to a comedy show, which was awesome. And then I cooked. And then
nice.
We just did a whole lot of nothing.
Nice.
One of the highlights was I got to film some content with a buddy of mine, Chef John O'Larnick in Chef's backyard. I can't even say that without stumbling.
When is he coming on the pod?
That's a good question.
I love it.
We need to figure that out. But
I think we've been in a guest deficit as of late.
Right. We did some steaks as far as we showcased the difference between select, choice, and prime.
Nice.
And that night it was crazy because it was raining real hard that day. And so my dad and I are going down there hanging out, and we get to his house. He lives way on the south side of San Antonio. I mean, south side, and we get to his place and we just had a good old time, like just grilling, talking steaks, talking shop, and just having a good old time. I hadn't seen him in a while, so it was good to catch up.
That's fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need that, like a little bit of like rest and recharge.
Yep. And then I just kind of did the typical Steven thing on the way out. We got In-N-Out Burger because I felt like it.
Because hashtag reasons.
We had our dogs with us, so I was not allowed to go have dim sum and sit down and actually eat in the restaurant because, of course, you can't leave dogs in cars. We just don't do that.
For real.
So, loaded question. What was the most amazing thing you've had to eat?
I finished up the last of the dumplings that I had in the fridge.
Okay.
But this time I did them with, I made like chili crisp garlic butter with lo mein noodles and the pork dumplings. So basically pot stickers essentially. So I finished that saga. Now it's on to the next, what do they call it? It's on to the next
chapter.
No, it's like when you get obsessed with a food and you eat it over and over. God, it'll come to me. Go ahead. What was the most amazing thing to eat? It's not even important, but it's in the culturally right now. It's a huge catchphrase that people are saying. It's my God. I can't remember. It's okay.
We're just gonna call it a Steven because that's a really good catchphrase. On to the next Steven.
On to the next Steven.
See, there you go.
On to the next Steven.
Let's see. Most amazing thing I had to eat. I'll say today, and it's been one of my usuals, is De Casa Pizza. Their hot honey, pepperoni, and jalapeno pizza never disappoints. And their calzone, always worth picking up. And it was just delicious.
What kind of calzone?
Now I'm kind of hungry again because, of course, we ate at like 1 o'clock, and it's like 7, 8 o'clock. So I'm hungry again.
Hyperfixation meal. That's the term. A lot of times, like I have not been diagnosed with ADHD or any sort of neurodivergence, but a lot of times people will get hyperfixated on a meal and they'll eat it over and over and over again. And
can you tell me the origin of origination?
The English. So a lot of times, like people will get obsessed with something and eat it over and over until finally the 15th time they eat it. Then they're like, if I eat this if I see this again, I'm going to throw up, and then they're done. So I go through this with a lot of things. Cereal for weeks on end. And then I don't want to see cereal for a long time. For a while it was pasta, and I don't want to see pasta for a while.
So is this the most amazing thing you've had to eat?
But I was like hyper fixated on those dumplings and pot stickers for a while. So yeah, until I got through like the 20-pound freezer bag that I bought. And then I was like, after I ate it a couple of days ago, I was like, yeah, but it'd be cool if I didn't see another dumpling again for a while. I'm all set there. So
I'm all about dumplings.
All set. Really good though.
They're great.
So chili crunch, some garlic, some ginger, some butter, some soy sauce. I let the butter brown in the skillet, cook the lo mein. So good. So good. Just carbs on carbs, my guy. Really, really good.
I like it.
So super good.
About that life.
Steven, have you ever made a breakfast cookie?
A breakfast cookie? No. Tell me about that.
Well, I know you don't let yourself eat oats or cookies.
No, I love oats. Lately my breakfast has been eggs and oatmeal. And of course, you got to have.
Do you put one on top of the other?
Oh yeah.
Have you ever made savory oatmeal?
Yes, I have. It's lovely.
Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. Are you talking about stirring an egg into oatmeal while it's cooking to boost the protein? Okay, because that's also a thing.
Well, yes. I'm not there yet. But what I do is I'll buy the protein oatmeal that has protein in it that's like
Kodiak,
maple and brown cinnamon sugar flavored. And then I'll cook off like 3 eggs and just put that on top and just eat it all together. So otherwise known as protein, that's been my breakfast choice.
Oh,
it's
that's
not
nice.
The most delicious, but you know what? It gets the job done, and I'm full for a while.
So my thing with oatmeal is like I want it when it's like 40 degrees outside. It's like warm and steamy and filling and all these things. But when it's above 80, I'm like, I really would rather not. But me and overnight oats are on the outs right now. Like that was another thing that I got fixed on and was convinced it was going to be like the ultimate breakfast go-to for like months until I finally burnt myself on it so hard that I can't. The texture is like, bleh. Nope. So anyway, breakfast cookies are super fun. 1 banana, 3rd cup applesauce, 4th cup liquid sweetener substance of your choice. So it could be like honey or maple syrup. I used sugar-free pancake syrup. That's what I had in the house. 2 cups of mix-ins, or 1 cup total of mix-ins. So I used I divided it like 1/4 cup raisins, 1/4 cup cranberries. I used like the 50% less sugar dried craisins, 1/4 cup sunflower seeds and 1/4 cup almonds. Just give everything like a really rough chop. And then you just combine it all together with a cup of peanut butter and you bake it in the oven at 325 for 18 minutes. And it makes these delightful little cookies that don't take any, it's like no eggs, sounds like what?
Like a dump cake.
Yeah, kind of. It's like
put in cookie form.
It's kind of like granola if you didn't try as hard, but I just scooped them out. They're delightful. It's a chewy little cookie. I ate 5 of them on the way to work today as breakfast. It was awesome.
Nice.
So, and you can put protein powder. I've done them with protein powder before. Like I've done like a full-on chocolate peanut butter where I put PB Fit and chocolate protein powder. And I did like an avocado in place of the banana. When you bake it, the green doesn't come through, the flavor. You just need a fat, essentially, is like what you need.
Yeah.
But there's no eggs and no leavener. So I put a crap load of cinnamon in mine, cardamom I really like, and like all the tasty mix-ins. But like really fun idea if you ever want something else to do with oats.
So did you get that out of a cookbook?
I got it off a website, but I think she has a cookbook. That's a pretty good segue, Steven.
Okay. I see your cookbook ideas, and I'll raise you another one.
Raise you the other one. What is it?
I don't know what that means, but it kind of sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was on to something,
You'll like raise me another one? Raise me?
Sure. So you have a cookbook there in front of you.
I do.
My question is, do you normally buy cookbooks or not really?
So a lot of times cookbooks are gifted to me, which I think is extremely thoughtful. I have bought some in my life, but I did tell the story when we talked about recipes a few weeks back where somebody really thought I would like to have a cookbook and rescued it from a dumpster for me. But yeah, I buy them from time to time. They're a fun souvenir. I went to Belize 2 years ago on a cruise and bought a cookbook. That was a fun way to get to know the area. So
that's cool.
There's a bug in here. Jesus.
Bug?
It's huge.
Big enough to make you flinch, huh?
Yes. All right. Please carry on, but there might be a moment. I might need to defend myself.
I used to love buying cookbooks. I would occasionally buy them, and there was always one recipe that made me want to buy it. If I did not find something in there that I was looking at, I wouldn't buy the book. But I have a lot of cookbooks. Do I use them? Not really, but it's just good conversation material. And there are times where I will want to get inspired and look through like old cookbooks. So I do have.
I have this dream of having a coffee table one day. My dogs are too big and they run too fast for me to have a coffee table. Like they would like slice themselves open on the corner. I just know it.
Just get a wooden coffee table.
And I'm like on a corner. Like it could still be wood. They would find a way to injure themselves. Stop. They would find a way to injure themselves, but I would also like break a shin on it. Like no doubt. I just don't. I need a wide open space so I can toddle
with you today.
I can toddle around. I can just toddle around like a toddler. I need wide open space and soft corners. But I always had this really great dream of like someday, somewhere, I'll own a coffee table and I can put like statement cookbooks, like huge, large print, like things with like gorgeous pictures of food as like coffee table books, So for browsing through and stuff. But honestly, the older I get, the more like every surface having something on it kind of pisses me off and really triggers me badly because it just collects dust. So I have a lot of, I would say I probably have like 13 cookbooks and I think 6 of them were gifts, which I'm fine with.
Interesting.
I'm fine with. So yeah, but sometimes it is one cookbook. Now I bought your cookbook because we're friends and I wanted to support you.
Yes, exactly.
Buddy.
Yeah, I was going to leave that one off the table. You see
that's okay though. Shut up. But if I had bought it for one recipe, it would be for the candy glass dessert. Because
really,
visually, it's like stunning.
It's cool, right?
It's nothing that, and please don't take this the wrong way, but it's like nothing that I couldn't figure out how to make myself as a chef, right? Like I know how to cook, sugar to a certain point to where it behaves a certain way. And I could probably come up with my own spin or variation of it, but that's not the point, right? Like I was like really intrigued by this process and like it made it more special that it was a person that I know and like, but at the same time, if I had seen that on a shelf somewhere, I would have been like, dude, that's, I want to have that book. Yeah. I want that. Like, I want to have that for that. Right. So yeah.
Well, this episode is not about inflating my ego. I promise.
It could be.
Nah, but I mean, many years before I started the whole cookbook journey, I used to buy cookbooks all the time in San Antonio. And there was a place called Half Price Books that had tons of just random cookbooks. I mean, I know there's probably more like around like Dallas and other areas, but I don't know why. I just thought it was exclusive to San Antonio. I feel kind of less special now. But
no, Dallas had one and it was like really, really cool.
I always found cool stuff. And I can remember being very young, like 19, 20. And I remember just finding books that just really piqued my interest. And it was something simple like Chinese cooking or cookies. You know what I'm saying? And they just always piqued my interest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I think I've shared before, like my grandma liked to read cookbooks like they were books, and she liked to look through them a lot. And I've probably lost the art of just sitting still and enjoying something, to be quite frank, but I just can't it's not something that appeals so much to me now, but it's because physical books are kind of cluttery for me. And like I said, then you got to have a place to store them, and then you got to clean them, and then you got to move them. And I don't know, a little bit of that allure is lost on me. But I will say that totally. I love a cookbook that has amazing pictures. And even better, like you guys know how I like puns. Like this one's called Just a Matter of Time.
There we go. I was going to say that was blurry as can be.
I know. I think there's a filter. I don't understand the internet. Please help. I'm an elder millennial. Just a Matter of Time, THYME. And I can guarantee you that was probably 1 out of 2 reasons that I bought the book, because I was like, puns, yay.
Do you watch the show Bob's Burgers?
Yes.
You know they have a cookbook, right? And it's all about puns and recipes. Yeah.
I mean, I love to just... The show is hysterical and it's brilliant. I love the movie too. But what I really liked was the sign where all the special burgers would be. Like I would just pause it and read those and laugh. Oh, by the way, The Bear is out. Anyway, and for what it's worth.
We gotta watch it.
I know.
We should have a watch party and film our reactions as to what's happening.
I'm just gonna yell bad words at Sydney the entire time. It doesn't matter.
The entire time the episode.
Just the entire time. Shut your stupid mouth. Yes. It won't be worth. Nobody will like to listen to that. It won't be worth anything.
It'll be an hour long of beeps.
So, Steve, you have some cookbooks over there?
I do. I do have a few cookbooks that have really meant something to me in a way. Or maybe I just found one recipe that really stuck out to me, but still, regardless.
Well, let's do it.
Cookbooks.
Let's do it, shall we?
Okay. Let's start from when Stephen was 19, 20 years old with my Chinese cookbook from Linda Doser. This is probably the only one that I have from her.
Okay.
Again, I still have my half price book sticker on there. I
yes.
bought it for $5.98.
Respect.
Back in 2009.
Respect.
But I love Chinese cuisine. It's amazing. And the fact that I worked with a couple of Chinese ladies for a handful of years, like I really had a new respect for Chinese food other than just like fried rice and sweet and sour chicken, shrimp, and all that kind of stuff. But
the legacy that Chinese food has in the United States is like it's a rich tapestry of there's a lot of story to be told there, and there's a lot of certainly like not ideal circumstances that kind of led to what we know as Americanized Chinese food today. But I think there's like so much still to learn about that legacy and style of cooking. Yeah.
And what I really like about Chinese cooking is they really make something out of nothing, So I can remember working with this lady, and her name was Miss Betty, and she would take all of our scraps and make like the best food. So typically all of our scraps would go into stocks and stuff like that. She would make an actual meal out of it, and it was always good. There was never anything that I had from her that was bad, and it just amazed me. So one day I came across this book and I thought, well, I have to check it out. And sure enough, I found, the one recipe that hit hard for me was a sesame noodle salad with hot peanuts. And I mean, I love sesame. I love sesame oil, sesame chicken, like all that kind of stuff. To me, that's one of my favorites. So every time I go to like a Chinese restaurant, I'm always getting sesame chicken, Americanized version, you know. But I mean, for the dressing to be like dark soy sauce, light soy sauce, honey, rice wine vinegar, and sesame oil, like you can put that on any kind of protein and it's still just as good, you know?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then of course you throw some hot peanuts on there and it's out of this world. But then you also have, like, in this case, noodles, carrots, cucumbers, celery root, which I'm not a big celery root guy, but you can leave that one out. Of course, scallions, water chestnuts, bean sprouts, chilies, and more sesame seeds. To me, this was a really good find. I've made a handful of recipes out of here, and they were just fantastic.
Nice. So it's just called Chinese?
Yep. The Essence of Asian Cooking.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. There's something really interesting about like all of the Asian dishes that feature cucumber, but in a hot dish.
Yeah.
Like Dan. Yep. I am intrigued by like the play between like hot and cold and kind of like soft and crunchy. I like it in some places and I don't in others, but I think I'm learning to appreciate it more the older I get. Celery root is interesting, Steve. Like that is an ingredient that I don't equate with Asian cooking at all.
You're right. Exactly.
Like it seems like a stuffy root vegetable that like British people use to make boring mash.
Or something that you use for braising.
Sorry, Chef Hawks. Sorry. It is just like, it seems like a root vegetable that's just for like putting underneath short ribs. But celeriac or celery root is really interesting, Steve, because I think that you can blanch, you can like small dice and blanch it. And then I like to candy it. Okay. And it takes all of that like woody, like super candy it down, like really, really caramelize it into kind of like celery root jam. And it's good with short ribs. So
interesting.
Yeah. It kind of takes all the celery flavor out. Like that's really the only way that I prefer to eat fennel because it's too licoricey.
Yeah.
I liked it candied. So.
Well, tell me about a recipe out of your I've Got Nothing But Time book.
Yeah. So just a matter of time. Right? Yeah, just a matter of time.
There you go.
So it's a collection of simply wonderful recipes, cherished quotes, and tasteful ideas to share among friends. So it has more than one author, but it's from a group of folks that were near the Lake of the Ozarks in central Missouri. And I 1000% bought this book because it was a pun. The title was a pun. But one thing that always really fascinated me as I got into cooking, probably like for my early 20s and on, is like learning about where dishes come from and everything else. One thing that's always been super fascinating to me is chicken a la king, because it sounds bougie, but it's not. Like it sounds really fancy, but at the end of the day, it's like cream, mushroom, peas, celery, onion, maybe a little bit of sherry, and chicken. But it sounds fancy. And that was kind of the idea when chicken a la king started being a thing, like in the 50s and 60s. It was meant to feel decadent, but using cheap ingredients that you already had around your house. So essentially, this recipe is asking you to like boil a whole chicken, which we've come full circle, right? Like Depression era, it makes total sense. If you can get your hands on a whole bird, it's the cheapest thing. And people are learning how to break it down and everything else. And then we get like 70s and 80s and everything was a chicken breast. And then you get like 90s and 2000s and everything was a chicken thigh. And then bam, like we're back to like, hey, the cheapest thing you can do while the grocery prices are high is buy a whole chicken and learn how to break it down. Like it's very cyclical. So, it's one medium fryer chicken, a cut up water. This recipe uses parsley flakes, which I find hilarious. 2 carrots, basil, and then for the rest of the sauce, it's butter, celery, mushrooms, flour. So essentially you're making a roux. 2 cups of chicken broth that you just made from boiling the chicken. The carrots from the stock that you made above, which I'm like, They might be kind of mushy by this point, but it's cool. It's cool. Frozen peas, milk, and then straight up frozen puff pastry shells prepared by the package, and then you serve it like over top of these puff pastry shells. I think I bought this book when I was like 23, and at the time I probably would have thought that was the most fanciest thing ever.
Yeah.
So maybe 20. I think I tried to think about the first time I ever ate foie gras. I think I was 21. So yeah, 21 nice. Or 22, but somewhere in my mind, I thought, man, chicken a la king really sounds like it's something amazing. And so I have this recipe in this book is super dog-eared. How many times have I made it? Maybe one time, but it interested me and I bought it. So
there you go.
Yeah, I totally bought it.
Interesting story.
Yeah, I totally bought it. Besides the fact that it was a pun, but there's all sort of things in here. Like now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, why don't I use this? Why don't I use this? There's everything in here.
Let me see. So page 133. I don't know if you're very into art or not, but my wife's family is really artistic, and they're painters and sculptors and stuff like that.
I like art. I'm intimidated by much of it.
Have you ever heard of an artist, Salvador Dali?
Yes, of course.
Because up until this cookbook, I had not, believe it or not. Yeah, I know. How ironic.
That's okay.
I found out Salvador Dali put out a cookbook. So, the Dali cookbook, look at how pretty that is. First,
that's incredible.
You know, I was like, that's interesting. He must have done some stuff. And so I got it for the frog cream recipe, which I think I've talked about before in the past.
I think you have.
And I even put up a video where I made frog cream. It didn't work out, so I had to do it again. And then the second time I put my twist on it, and it was better. But of course, there's like frog legs, butter, milk, celery, salt.
God, I love frog legs. They're so good.
They are awesome. Let's see, cauliflower, water, breadcrumbs. So this is the recipe. Try to get that in there. And
that picture is incredible.
Yeah, I love art too. I'm not very artistic, but like you look at stuff like this, and I love those are stunning photos. Even this one, like the eel pate. I love eel, but I don't think I'm ever gonna find 3 living eels.
Oh, come on. You're not trying hard enough, Steven. That's Twitter talk, Steven.
It's hard enough finding heavy cream. I've never heard of this ingredient. But yeah, 3 live eels. Eel pate does sound really good. Like, there's a lot of good ideas in here.
Does it? Does it, though?
For me, it's very like look at that. It's very 1950s, mid-century modern type. You know what I'm saying?
Can I read just a little bit of this description of this book? I have it pulled up here.
Yeah.
Food and surrealism make perfect bedfellows. Sex and lobsters, collage and cannibalism, the meeting of a swan and a toothbrush on a pastry case. I don't know that I've read like a more bizarre sentence in recent history. Luckily for us, Dali published a cookbook in 1973, Les Dinners de Gala, which reveals some of the sensual, imaginative, and exotic elements that made up their notorious gatherings. Like, I kind of just want to buy it. I'm not making eel pate either, but I want to buy it. What is that picture? Oh, you closed it. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. We can't use visual aids on this audio medium. What will we do?
Like, that's kind of the stuff that we did in culinary school.
Damn, that's sexy, though. For real.
But, like, I'm sure this looks cooler, but ours tasted better. You know?
I like it.
So I just felt like that was a good book to have. And I even remember doing an event where I went to the museum in Odessa. They did a Salvador Dali themed, I guess, exhibit exhibition, and they had a bunch of local chefs, and I ended up being one of them. I did the frog cream. I did like a calf liver pate.
Yes.
And then just to be weird, I did a Jello mold with crawfish in it, and no one else did that. Like some of my buddies were plating up stuff like on the table, and so you can just grab and go like directly from the table, and that was really cool too. But I felt like I really embraced the essence of Dali for that event,
That sounds awesome, dude. I wish it could have been bothered to catch 3 live ills, but it's okay.
Where do you find heavy cream? Where do you find shallots?
Where do you find them?
Mushrooms?
Give up.
Never heard of these things. What's another one that you have?
All right. This was a book or a gift from, yes, obviously it's a book. Words are really hard. Wording is extremely hard. This was a gift from some dear friends of mine, Tiffany and Jared. I don't think they would mind me sharing their names. I have before. This is called The Just Kitchen. It's invitations to sustainability, cooking, connection, and celebration. So this book is by and large about justice, and it has some religious reflections in it, some liturgy, and some prayers. It only has 4 recipes in it. I have made 1 of them. Each recipe has a story about the person who contributed it, kind of where they're from, like their struggles. It's a really neat opportunity to kind of learn about it. And then each recipe is followed up with a little liturgy. I'm going to share one. For anybody that doesn't know, a liturgy is just like a written prayer that other people read out loud. But it says, let enough be enough. Enough time, enough food, enough you, and with God, maybe even there is enough and some to share. Just like really poignant reflections on, like, as you're going through this book, there are some prayers in here. There are some stories about church dinners. This is really the idea that people that the fellowship of, and I'm sorry, I know we don't get uber religious on this podcast, but it's fine. I'm just shooting my shot here. This book is really about the idea that God is found in the togetherness of eating together and preparing food together. So, among other things, and I really like that idea. But the recipe that I've made from this book is chicken adobo. And so it's yellow onions, pickling spice, brown sugar, bay leaves, sesame oil, olive oil, vinegar, soy sauce, chicken broth, and garlic, a whole bulb of garlic. With 2 to 3 pounds of chicken, and I used thighs. I think I should have used them bone in. So it says preferably thighs and drumsticks with bones and skin still present, like in the instructions. And so it's kind of like a loose recipe that just says, like, here are the ingredients. It serves 2 to 4. And even the first step says it's really difficult to mess this up. So just go with your feelings, right? Like, but it's a really beautiful book that I sat with a cup of coffee one weekend after I received it as a gift. And thanks again, Jared and Tiffany. Like, this is amazing. Love you guys. But really amazing, like, just some stories and kind of the spirit of togetherness and what it means to share food and like slowing down and taking time to appreciate that. So I really love the idea of the book. And then I have to do the other 3 recipes, but the chicken adobo turned out really good. And for me, I guess in my limited understanding of some different cultures of food, chicken adobo to me was like the Mexican version, like anado, adobo. This is more Filipino. So quite different, a little bit of a different flavor profile. So I thought like spicy deep red chilies, whereas this is like a Filipino comfort food that's like salty sour. So quite different, but like really, really amazing. So if anybody's interested, this book is really cool. And if you're a believer, it has like a lot of really cool insight and a lot of really inspirational things in it too. So
very cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Whether you're religious or not, if you're having a good meal with a group of people, particularly around Thanksgiving time. Yeah, I mean, people still give thanks. They may not say grace, but they'll at least say what they're thankful for. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And I think that like fellowship is fellowship, and it doesn't matter like what lens you're looking at it through. So
A lot of the times, even if you are saying a little prayer before you have your meal,
yeah,
I think the company that you're around, 9 out of 10 times, is usually pretty reverent. Show some reverence towards your beliefs and how you feel. So
yeah,
I'm all about it.
Yeah. I will say that like the kitchen is the place that I experience God quite a bit. So
yeah,
this book has a lot of meaningful things in it. It's got a lot of stories of the people that contributed the recipes. It has like a lot of like global stories of like struggle, opportunities and things like that. It has all sorts of liturgies, and it has like a lot of food history, which I'm a total nut for.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
So the next book that I'm going to showcase, it's another half price books find where I saw the title and I thought, what in the world? And I pulled the book out, and the photography is just amazing. Come to find out, it's very molecular gastronomy. And not only that, but it's one of, I think, culinary's most brilliant minds to have ever, walked this earth, Heston Blumenthal. It's called The Fat Duck Cookbook. Now, at first, I thought, what in the world is this? This is interesting. And I started flipping through it, and I got to move my computer back a little bit so I can try to get this. But a lot of the people I was working with were really into molecular gastronomy.
Hold on, Steve. Stop. Cool down. I got it. I totally got it.
And
he did. Oh, he's not dead. Wait.
You got to get him. In all fairness, I would never try to do this.
He's dead now.
I lied. I've tried to make a two out of here, but I don't have a lot of the ingredients for molecular gastronomy.
Like, who does?
And so, like, it was very Thomas Keller-ish, if you will, just by looking at some of these pictures. And
well, Steve, I guess my question is, like, who's doing molecular gastronomy at home without the bankroll of a restaurant behind you?
True.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know.
Even then, so like, I ended up buying this cookbook not because of one recipe, but because I was just intrigued. So, for example, nitro scrambled egg and bacon ice cream. So
what? Oh my God, that's hot! Look at that picture.
Right?
Wow.
That was one where I just thought, oh my goodness, what in the world? And I tried to use this as inspiration to really come up with plating ideas and whatnot. Well, towards the end of my restaurant career.
Yeah.
But even then, you have stuff like salmon poached in licorice gel. Not a big licorice person, but look at that. This is just amazing.
Sorry. I'm not even a licorice. Wait, I'm not a licorice person more than you. And that sounds like a punishment. But please continue.
Be that as it may, but the way he made
the picture is pretty amazing though.
And and then let's see, here's this one. It's eel Nietzsche. But look at that. Again,
dang.
I used this as an inspiration for coming up with plating ideas and things like that. And then in the process, I learned about who Heston Blumenthal was.
So for those of you who aren't watching us on YouTube, like, what are you doing with your life? Because you can't see the pretty pictures. I'm just saying.
But I mean, this guy is just a genius. And the Fat Duck was one of the top restaurants in the world. I know that they had issues at one point, but the food that came out of there just looked amazing. I can't even fathom, like eating there and not.
Well, it's 3 Michelin stars, man. Like,
I was gonna say, yeah, and not grabbing pictures and being kicked out for taking pictures of all that, But
yeah, absolutely.
Blumenthal is just a genius, when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And again, I have that on my coffee table, but And I skim through it from time to time. I think I've only tried to do a recipe out of it once, and I just failed miserably. So there's also that.
I'm looking at one of these. I mean, I think it's almost like, I don't know, indulge me if you will. It's like when you have a piece of statement jewelry and it's like one big giant gaudy yellow thing that only matches one thing and you bought it to wear one time, right? Like it's like a statement cookbook that you bought for like one thing, but you used it like one time. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't know, man. The macerated strawberries with black olive and leather puree with a pistachio scrambled egg.
Yep.
I'd order it. I don't know that I would make it though. See, that's why I go out to eat, because I don't want to make it.
Yeah, you know? All this kind of stuff. And then that's when I discovered ideas and and it really, I went down that rabbit hole.
Chef Philip sent us his books. He got them in the mail.
Oh, sweet.
So, sweet. I know. Super exciting.
I sent him one of mine, so that's really cool.
I'm super excited.
But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, I really went down that rabbit hole, and I really tried to push myself as a culinarian, as a chef, and just like to come up with really good food ideas. And I ended up discovering like I'm more basic and simple with with few ingredients and big flavors,
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, that just kind of led to my evolution.
But that's really cool. I mean, I love the idea of like buying a cookbook to increase to kind of like grow your perspective.
Yep.
I think that's super fun. Like I wonder if any of our listeners have cookbooks that were passed down,
I'm sure,
like the old church cookbook, right? That your mom had like a pie recipe in it, and you cooked a few other things, and now you have it, and it's like ratty, and it has plastic binding, and has gravy stains on it or whatever, right? Like I think everybody has those kind of, if anybody cooks at all, right? Like I think everybody has kind of those cookbooks, and then they have the really nice ones that maybe somebody gave to you or you bought, like you did, right? For a photo or for like one recipe, or because it was kind of like a prestige purchase. And then it's the one that stays really nice. It doesn't have any stains on it or anything else,
Yeah.
It doesn't get open in your kitchen, but it looks good on the shelf.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So
what's another one that you got?
Interesting. So I have the Mastering the Art of French Cooking. This is a really old.
Looks cool.
This is a really old. Cameras are complicated. By Julie.
Does he have the blurred background filter?
I think so. Yeah, because nobody wants to see my many blinds. They need to be dusted. Julia Child with Simone Beck. I went out and bought this after Julie and Julia came out.
Okay.
And I bought this one secondhand. A husband bought it for his wife. So on the inside it says, "For my darling, wonderful cook, Mary, from Gmo." So it's super cute, but like I bought it used is what I'm getting at. But it's like, that's very super sweet that it would be like, "For my darling, wonderful cook, Mary." Like, what a story there. So I went and bought it because I wanted to cook all the things that she cooked in the movie. And, it's like a true story of the woman that wanted to cook through the entire book. I didn't have any desire to do that, but I did go out to the store several times after I saw the movie, and I watched the movie several times. I've seen it several times. It always inspires me to go do a fancy grocery shop and make something really amazing. But one of the things that I really sought out the book for, and it's not that like Julia Child, like I watched her on PBS. Well, by the time I watched her, it was probably syndication. But I knew who she was.
Right.
And so especially like being a female chef, like I knew exactly who she was. But the undoubtedly it's the beef bourguignon. It's the same one that Amy Adams' character makes in the movie, Julie and Julia. But, we made it in culinary school, but I wanted to have my own recipe that wasn't out of the cookbook, or it wasn't out of the textbook cookbook, the Wayne Gislin, or the binder that they gave us during the practical exams. And so I wanted to have that, and I felt like I had a piece of history, and like knowing that, there's a recreation of her kitchen in the Smithsonian and everything. Like it made me feel like I was a little piece of something bigger than me, I guess. And I've made this recipe several times. I make it quite often. I've also made it with pork, which might be an abomination, but sometimes pork stew cube meat is like cheaper than beef. And your girl got bills, so sometimes. But I think you can change the flavors up a little bit, and it's still the same idea, right? It's a braise with wine. I don't think you can really get it wrong. But I made this a lot when I was in Austin. I went through a Merlot drinking phase, and I used Merlot to make this quite a bit. I made Boeuf Bourguignon quite often. It doesn't get any more simple. Like it's, stew beef. It's even the lean kind is what you're using. So you don't have to do a lot of trimming. Carrots, onions, salt, pepper, flour, 3 cups red wine, beef bouillon or beef stock, tomato paste, garlic, thyme, a bay leaf, and then bacon rinds. But I do mine just a little bit differently. Like I put my own twist on this. I like to fry the lardons until they're crispy and then use them as a garnish. For anybody that's listening and doesn't know what lardons are, they're just like a crispy kind of specific size cut of bacon. I render the fat out of those and use it to saute the carrot and onion after the beef. So I'll do like brown the beef, pull it out, put in the bacon, kind of cook the bacon in the beef fat. It's like fatception, and then pull that out, and then like carrots and onions, make the roux, add all the other yummy things, and then quartered white mushrooms, and then small white onions. But like you can use pearls or cipollinis for this, but I'm like lazy. I always just used to quarter onions. So, but it makes a delicious gravy, and you can serve it over rice or noodles, but I like mine over mashed Yukon potatoes, like smashed with the skin on, butter, parsley, and dill.
There's no other way for it.
Mm-hmm. Or like smashed red potatoes. So to me, even though it is more than the sum of its parts and certainly more complicated and fancy than that, to me, this is fancy pot roast in wine.
Yeah.
With bacon.
Huh.
So, but it's a classic.
I agree. It's always a good one though. You know? So, I guess I've got one more for this evening. And back in my early 20s, I think I was 21 when I bought this one, another half price find.
Do it.
Called Cookies, Irresistible Biscuits, Brownies, and Bars from Hillary Walden.
Nice.
I think this is when I was like really in my cookie phase. I eat nothing but cookies all day, every day.
Are you not? What happened? Are you not in the phase still?
No, I still eat cookies all day, every day.
Okay, Dan.
But it's crazy because I bought it. I was flipping through it, and I came across Wisconsin cheddar and chive biscuits, kind of similar to a Chains,
like the ones they make with certified crack cocaine. That I can't get enough of. Well, have you bought? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll save this question for after.
Have I bought what?
Have you bought the mix at the store? The Red Lobster Cheddar Bay Biscuit mix. Good God.
But they had there's a recipe for chunky chocolate drops, which, I mean, that just looks great.
Please.
And then I have bookmark from, I don't even know what this is, probably from when I was in college, like back when I was in my early 20s. And then I haven't looked at this book in years, but then I also printed up a recipe for Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies from scratch.
Stop.
This was...
Well, I know you've made those before.
June 25th, 2007 is when I printed up this recipe.
Nice.
Wow. Talk about memory lane, huh? But yeah, bacon twists, biscuits, tiny cheese puffs, nut and chocolate.
Nice.
Nut and chocolate chip brownies. I mean, like I said, who wouldn't want to have a book like this with nothing but like junk food recipes? You know what I'm saying? And
did I
know that? But I mean, Cookies are life. Pizza, cookies, burgers, it's all life.
Did I ever tell you that I wrote in when Bobby Flay was first on the Food Network? I wrote in to get recipe. This was before I had the internet. This is before I had a printer. Like, I don't know what I would do now, but I literally put cash in an envelope and sent it for them to mail me a recipe. It might have been when he was on Lifetime on the main ingredient, but I legit paid for them to send me a Bobby Flay recipe, and they sent it in the regular mail. As if you can even believe that's a real thing that happened. And I think I have it. I think I have it somewhere, but it was like the most ridiculous, like, for me then it was like probably some mind-blowing thing, but I remember exactly what it was. It was like some compound basil butter that he put on grilled corn on the cob. It's like, well, I think it was like 16 or 15. Like, it just makes me think about like what the time of like when we printed recipes from the internet. Like, is that not wild? Like, that's wild, dude. Now I'm even lucky if I don't even take a screenshot. Like, I'll just look at it and go, oh yeah, the standard, like it's a guideline, right? Like, I don't even look at it.
Back in the early 2000s, there was this thing called the internet. A very big thing. And we would print recipes. And if you did not have a printer, you were kind of SOL.
You went to the library and then you paid like 15 cents a page.
Oh, no.
Truth.
Oof.
Truth.
I don't remember that. I think I'll just go to like UTSA and just print up from there.
That's a PSA for all the kids out there.
Who printed up this recipe?
Who's on the dial-up? I can't need to try and watch my stories.
This isn't adult-themed content. Who would print up a recipe, you sick jerk?
Did you try to print a Pokemon card for the internet? That's not how they work.
Oh,
just like that.
That's not how it works? I'll get it right now.
I have another book.
What's your book?
I believe that I inherited this in the stack of cookbooks from my grandmother. So Graham Kerr was known as the Galloping Gourmet. Yay, it's in frame. The Galloping Gourmet. He was on PBS on KBC TV. And it's funny because when you go through this book, let me see if I can find a good example. It looks like somebody wrote in here.
Yeah.
Like for real, right? But there's a note I remember watching him, and I'm still an Anglophile to some extent, right? Like, I'm fascinated by all things English and accents and everything else. But he had this like frenetic energy. Like, he was the Galloping Gourmet, and he would run around the kitchen and he'd make all these crazy recipes and everything else. But he says, "Dear reader, at this precise moment, I'm sitting at my dining table on our studio set for the Galloping Gourmet, the place where I appear to eat so much. I just finished reading the final for this, our second volume of the television cookbook. There are a few things I want to add, but the printer wants me to turn this in now. So I'll make my notes with each recipe in my own hand." So everything's his handwriting that they like photocopied onto these pages. And so not only does that make it feel just a little bit more personal, but like it's a funny little inside. One of the things I have made from here, though, is the Graham Kerr pate. So it's a pound of pork liver, a half a pound of pork necks, 4 ounces of bacon, 8 ounces of bacon rashers, which you and I would know is just like back bacon, not the belly. And then 2 shallots, 2 eggs, peppercorns, nutmeg, bay leaf, thyme, mushrooms, garlic, brandy, parsley, half a pint of white sauce, which I'm like, at that age at the beginning, I was like, what's white sauce and where do I buy it? Right. And then 3 ounces of clarified butter. But then he gives you the recipe for white sauce, which is, you and I know, is like bechamel. And then, so I think I made this when I was maybe 27, I want to say. But I love reading through this cookbook and seeing all the notes and addendums to his recipes, like written in his own hand. And of course, like, he was big through the 70s. And so there's pate in here. There's like gâteau in here. There's all sort of duck, and there's cold soups and oyster things, and just all sort of like things that you would find at house parties. But one of the other things I like is there's like a notes section. There's like a bunch of blank pages for memos. So I always kind of like the idea if you figured out something didn't work or you liked a substitution that you could just scribble it down. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm fine writing in cookbooks. I don't care.
That's cool.
To me, they're not sacrosanct. Like, will you write in a cookbook? Like in the margin or cross something out or circle it? Like, it's not that serious to me. So, yeah. There's a lot of things that are really out of fashion in here. Like there's this is
one where I wish there would have been some handwriting in there already for you. You know what I'm
saying? Well, I suspect that, and it's really no shade to my grandma, but I think that there were a lot of things in here that were just not her palate. And so I think this is one of those things that she probably thought was wildly interesting for the same reason that I thought it was, like all the handwritten notes, and that the guy was just this enigmatic personality that we both watched on TV. But there's so many things in here that are like, hey, this is a great hors d'oeuvre for when you're hosting people to play bridge. Like, what? We're just going to sit at the table and stare at our phones. What's a good food for that? Like,
that's where a lot of my content comes from. Hey, everyone.
Bridge night?
Are you playing bridge tonight? Well, here's an easy recipe just for you. But I'm not galloping in my kitchen, though.
Like, this is galloping. One of the things in here, like, interesting, like, indicative of the time is broccoli with French dressing. Like, it's literally steamed broccoli that you serve with, like, bottled French dressing. But at some time it's French dressing is just sugar. It's like ketchup, vinegar, and sugar. I'm just putting that out there. It doesn't make it any less delicious. I like it on, like, a wedge salad, but not broccoli.
No.
Yeah. One time Alton Brown said he didn't want to know what was in French dressing or Catalina because he didn't want anybody to ruin the illusion for him. He's like, it's delicious and I'll just eat it, but please don't tell me what's in it. So.
Well, this was a fun trip down memory lane.
Yeah, this was a really great idea, Steve. I think it's fun to examine why we make the food choices that we make from time to time. And
it's something that kind of ties into our careers early on.
Yeah.
And you use that as motivation. And
absolutely.
It just helps spur creativity more than anything else.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Steve, let me break this one off for you. I think you'll be like intrigued by this. You ready?
Tell me.
Iced rum husk. This was an original Graham Kerr creation for the state of Hawaii, USA. Why? Because it's cool, refreshing, and quite spectacular. So what you need to serve 4 people is 1 large pineapple, 1 pint of vanilla ice cream, 1 tablespoon of instant espresso, 4 Brazil nuts, a 1/4 cup Bacardi rum, and a tablespoon of brown sugar. This is how it goes down. I wasn't even prepared for what I read when I read all the way through. So you finally slice the Brazil nuts. You measure the rum. His instructions are like wild. Cut the top off the pineapple at the shoulder. Scoop out the flesh from the top to leave a small cavity. With a thin, sharp knife, cut down carefully just within the skin, right around the circumference until the bottom is almost reached. So basically, he's like scooping out all the insides from the pineapple while it's still upright. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So he's like, work in sections so you don't accidentally cut the skin. Cut away the hard center core, cut all the flesh into 1/2-inch wedges and place it in the bowl. Now you put the rum and the sugar on the pineapple and you let it macerate in the fridge overnight. I like where this is going. You deep freeze the pineapple shell. You place alternate layers of chopped nuts, instant coffee, and ice cream with the rum-flavored pineapple. So basically you're making like a frozen rum-flavored pineapple ice cream, coffee, and nut parfait inside a pineapple shell. I'm in. I'm 1,000% in. I'm 1,000% in. I don't know why you wouldn't use macadamia nuts with this, but maybe it's too on brand. Serve it with glossy banana leaves and hibiscus flowers for decoration.
I'd serve it with more rum.
I would just pour it the glug 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 like into the middle and then probably set the top on fire. Yeah. Isn't that wild though? Somebody comes to your house and you have a huge piece of fruit and you're like, I made a dessert. No mention of how we're going to serve it. Like, does everybody grab a spoon? Is it good family style? Like everybody just passes it around, takes bites. Like
set up, cut it into quarters. How many people are there?
Right? Like how do you How you doing?
You just figure it out.
That's was a wild time. So I've heard. So
that's when everyone had, what was it, key parties or something like that? Back in the 70s.
Some such. But yeah. Steve, what are you cooking this week? Are you going to go find eels and make eel cream?
I'm going to discover new ingredients that are mushrooms and calf livers and yes. I have no clue. I have just been so out of it lately that I'll figure something out. No clue yet. What about you?
What do I have? Wonder of wonders. I bought some sockeye salmon burger patties from Aldi because I love a raw salmon and I love a salmon in a croquette form. So I want to cook them, and I'm going to make some remoulade out of the stuff that I have in the fridge. And I bought some like crispy, crunchy lettuce and some burger buns. So I did a big Aldi shop recently, and I found some pleasant surprises. So I'm super excited.
Nice.
So
well, we need to know how that comes out.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Well, Steve, it's been a blast, but
we got to go.
Got to go. Thanks for talking about cookbooks today.
Most definitely.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap for today. Until the next episode of the Food for ThoughtCast, make good food, eat good food, share it, and be kind to one another.
Thanks so much for listening today. You are part of what makes us special, and we are so glad you joined us. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave a review. Just like food, delicious podcasts are better when you share them with others. Come back for seconds wherever podcasts are served, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Food for ThoughtCast.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Food for ThoughtCast or at www.foodforthoughtcast.com, where you can link to all podcast players, or you can send us an email at foodforthoughtcmc@gmail.com.